Welcome to the video, everyone. I hope you're well. We're gonna shoot outside for this one because it's a nice day today. So, guys and girls, I want to post a video today on launching your product and how to launch a product successfully on Amazon. Right. So there's so much to consider when you're first launching, whether it's your first product, your third product, whichever it is. There's a lot to consider and there's a lot of options. So I want to break those down for you guys today. So we're going to look at launching in this video, a soft launch, a hard launch, and which one I recommend. And I hope it's some help to you guys. I hope everyone's well. The sun is shining. It's a good day to be alive. The cat has just jumped over the fence. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Welcome to the video, everyone. I hope you're doing well, having a good week so far. So as I mentioned from the intro video, we're going to be looking at product launches today. Now, quick breakdown of what we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to explain some of the different features and functions of Amazon FBA and their Seller Central with regard to launching a product. I'm going to talk you through a few different options for launch strategies, and then give you basically my advice, or what I would recommend to someone who's launching their first, second, or third product on Amazon. And the information that I provide to you and sort of the advice is based on my own product launches. So I'm currently ranking on the first page out of in some instances over 100,000 results for the more competitive keywords, and a lot less than that for other keywords. But it's based on my own experience of getting to page one, and also working with students and trying to get them up to that page one spot also. So I hope you guys can take something away from the video, you find it useful, and maybe you can incorporate some different parts of this into your own launch strategy, right? So launch strategy, it's extremely important. It's one, like I said in the intro, it is one of the most important part of Amazon FBA. If you haven't got a strong launch strategy and methodology behind what you're actually doing, it will fail, right? If you really have no idea what you're doing and you sort of slap a product up on Amazon, like on eBay possibly, and just hope for the best, it isn't the right way to go about it. You guys know as well as I know the opportunity with FBA. We don't need to sort of explain it again here. It's crazy, and it's worth investing some time into your launch, right? And my cat is a menace today, so he's wandering around. So excuse me if he jumps up in front of the camera. I wouldn't be surprised if he did do that. So let's go straight into it. So before we look at the different methods, I want to look at the different things that you need to consider before launching, right? The groundwork. Now, these are things that people might overlook possibly if you have missed any of the stages, or if you just haven't done your due diligence and proper research. But the groundwork's important, and it will underpin all future work that you do with that product, including the launch. So some people will be saying, stating the Captain Obvious here, throwing these out there, but they're not. So your product, right? The product has to be good. It has to be a product that you've sampled. Really, you have to sample the product. You need to make sure that it's of a high standard, a high quality. It functions if it should, if it's technical. The product is everything, right? Imagine the product as the center of a spider diagram. It's the core function of the whole model. Everything else around it is just background noise. The product is what is essentially going to determine if it works or not. So make sure you sample. Now, the product, again, I've talked about this in other videos, and I'll brush over it here. Ensuring that you have done your research into the niche or category that you're launching into, and you've differentiated, right? Differentiation is a term that's thrown around a lot within this sort of space, but what I mean is add value to the product, right? You want to stand out. We don't just want another generic product that's thrown up that doesn't stand out, because it's not gonna be working at its best potential. It's not going to be optimal. We want to have an optimal listing, an optimal product, and by differentiating and adding value to a product, it's going to have a far higher success rate than a product that is not differentiated. Now, you can have a look into differentiation, got other videos on that, so you guys can feel free to flick back at the end of the video and have a look at the differentiation process. There's a lot to consider there. So the product. Secondly, a high converting product listing is going to be key. Now, how that fits into the groundwork is that before you launch your product, you're going to have created your product listing on Amazon Seller Central. Now, that's the portal that you will use as a seller, provided by Amazon. And this is where you can upload all of your different information about your product to your Seller Central. So when you add a product, it will ask you for lots of different things. But what I mean by high converting product listing is when that listing is being created and your PPC campaign or your campaign goes live, your product goes live, it converts well. So when people click on it, they actually buy the product, right? Or a high percentage of those people buy, a high click-through rate and a high conversion rate. Now, again, the product and the differentiated product, which we look at in the point above, reinforces this, but there's other ways to optimize a product listing. So a high converting product listing, typical typical ways to optimize your listing would be firstly product images, right? Very simple. But if you have got poor images, you will not have a high converting product listing. It is common knowledge. So work hard on your images. There are cheap ways to get images through Fiverr, lots of different ways. I would advise allocating some of your budget towards images. And when I say so, obviously, Dill, you're going to be allocating some of your budget. A significant amount in terms of if you get quoted 3 different prices, just don't immediately go for super duper cheap images, right? It's a good investment. They're one-time investments for a product. Once you've purchased your images, you won't need any more for that particular product. So get good images. Put some time into your features and details and your product description. Right? We want to make sure that you've got a very well written product description and features and details. Make sure you've got all the important points about your product in there. These are all going to contribute towards the conversion rate of the listing. So work hard on that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to mention that straight away. We're going to look at that in the next part. But these 2 sections, right, this is all going to be happening before you launch your product. And some of the next parts will also kind of factor into before as well, but we'll look at them in the next slide. So make sure that you consider all of those points as groundwork before even thinking about your launch strategy, okay? So super important, make sure you do it. Now, before your launch, and again, similar to the groundwork, I think I've just split that into 2 to try and bulk this presentation up. But we also need reviews. If you haven't got reviews on a listing, when you launch, from my experience, it's incredibly hard to create a high converting listing. High converting listings are what you want as a first time seller launching, or any seller. So reviews are key. Now, I have had, for example, students who come to me and they've launched their product and they say to me, Dale, I've only been having a few sales a day. Please take a look at the listing. I can't work out what's wrong. And they'll send me a listing with no reviews. Now, reviews play a large role and a significant part in the decision that the buyer will make whether or not they purchase your product, right? It's, you can blow your product up and blow smoke up your products, but behind as much as you want. But other people leaving reviews of your product, there's more credibility with a review from someone else rather than you, right? So when you're selling yourself, is all good and well, needs to be done. But if someone else recommends you, it's more credible from them. So reviews are key. Now, it's a gray area how you get reviews. I have to advise to stay within terms of service, but you can get reviews on your listing. Let me give you an example, right? Let's say I have a website selling pens, right? I'm a cool guy. I sell pens on my own website. I'm making loads of money selling pens. I've got my own customer base on my own website. Now, theoretically, I could create a product listing on Amazon, and I could ask my customers who've already bought this pen from me. Let's say I've got 1,000 customers who've bought this pen from me. I could ask 100 of them to leave me a product review. And you're probably thinking, but Dill, my product hasn't gone live yet. Doesn't matter. You can get reviews on your listing before a product goes live. They're called unverified reviews. So that's Amazon essentially just stamping the actual review and saying that we can't verify this has been bought through Amazon. but it's been bought through somewhere else, basically, is what they're saying. Because they understand that businesses will diversify and shift over to Amazon. So businesses have got customers, and they want to utilize their customer base, and they want to get reviews. They're genuine reviews. So you ask your customers to review this pen. Now you might get 30, 20 unverified product reviews before your product goes live. Now these are all legitimate. You're allowed to do that, right? But I'm guessing that you haven't got a pen company and you haven't got a large, customer base, as neither did I. So take that however you like. But what I'm getting at is you can build up reviews before you launch, but they'll be unverified. Now, with unverified, you do not want to get too many too quick. Amazon does not specify in their terms of service what that means. They just say if you have an unusually large amount of reviews or high quantity of reviews in a short space of time, unverified reviews, sorry, then it will raise alarm bells, and they might cap your listing and say that we're not going to allow any more unverified reviews on there, which isn't the end of the world, right? They just cap it for unverifieds. You can still get verifieds when you've launched. So, wow, I've talked a long time about reviews. But get some reviews on your listing. If it's not before you launch, get them on there soon. As soon as you go live, make sure you get some people to buy it and review the very generic, very vague there. Get people to buy it and get some reviews on that listing, because it will massively increase conversions, and it needs to be done. Right? Facebook ads, something that we'll look at a little bit later, briefly, but I would do your research with Facebook ads, something that we look at in my mastermind group and my Super Seller Elites Academy. But Facebook ads and funnels are a way that you can drive traffic to a product launch and a product listing. You can target specific types of people. So I could target people who love pens, for example, if I was that person who had the pen company. Now, why am I saying this before launch? Well, do your research. Make sure you understand. There's no point sort of launching and then thinking, oh, I'm going to set up a Facebook ad. Do your background research. Make sure you understand how they work. Create the campaign, set it up, and put it on pause. You don't need to. You can set it as active and start to run the campaign when the product goes live. But you can do this before you started and before you've launched. KW research. What do I mean by that? So keyword research before your launch needs to be done. So keywords are extremely important. It's a way to ensure that your product is put in front of the right people. So, if I'm selling pens, I'm going to keep this quite simple. If I'm selling pens, the word, for example, if this was a biro pen or a fountain pen, let's look at a fountain pen example, I would make sure that that was in my listing. So in my product description, features and details, and in my title. You do not need to repeat keywords over and over and over again. It's enough for them just to be in there. Same with your back-end keyword research, which goes into your back-end of your Seller Central. Don't repeat words. They only need to be in there once. Also, make sure you stay within the character limit. Otherwise, all of your keywords will be invalid. So make sure you do your keyword research. Now, I would recommend Helium 10 for this. In the past, I've recommended other things, but recently my mind has been swayed after seeing results from students and my own use of Helium 10. So you can use Helium 10, and they've got a suite of tools, but the tool I'm referring to here is Magnet. So you can use Magnet to conduct keyword research. So you can find out, for example, how many people are searching for biro pens in the UK. And you can also find relevant keywords that relate to the keyword that you're searching for. So it will give you ideas, basically. You'll have ideas of lots of different keywords and their corresponding search volume, so you can establish how popular a product is, or how popular a search term is, and thus how popular the product is. And then you can input those keywords into your back-end keywords, and also into your features and details and your product description. Remember not to repeat any keywords though. So keyword research is vital before your launch. Make sure you know what keywords you want in your listing, what keywords you want to be indexed for, what customer search terms do you want to be put in front of. I don't want to be put in front of people who are searching for mobile phones if I'm selling pens. So make sure that you consider that. Now, this is all pre-launch. Now, shifting forward, we're going to go straight into what some of the fundamental parts, should we say, of launching a product. Now, lots of people have lots of different ways of launching, but the first thing that you really need to understand is pay-per-click advertising from Amazon. So PPC comes in a variety of different forms, and there's different ad types that you can choose. Now, this is all from your Seller Central. Now, a little bit of a breakdown. So PPC just stands for pay per click. So it's pay per click advertising on Amazon. So let me give you an example. When you're browsing on Amazon and you search, for example, I'm going to stick to the pen example. You search for pens. You're going to see a lot of product listings on the first page. Now, some of those product listings will be sitting there organically, so they won't be an ad. There will be an established listing potentially, and they will be on the first page, which is where you want to be. This is what this launch strategy is going to help you guys get to. So as well as those organic, we call them listings, there's going to be sponsored listings or sponsored products. So these sponsored products are a result of PPC. Now, if you see here, we can see there it says sponsored and sponsored. This is an example. Underneath there, that's an organic ranked listing. Now, these are called impressions. We're not going to go too much into the jargon and terminology of PPC, but an impression is basically a certain time when your ad is visible to a customer. They don't need to click on it, it's just visible. Now, when someone clicks on the ad, okay, you will pay for that click. So hence the name pay per click. So we'll keep that simple, but essentially, again, we want high converting listings to increase conversion. So when someone clicks on your ad and subsequently goes to your product listing, they end up buying it, and that will be a high conversion rate. So PPC stands for pay per click. Now, we need to use, in my opinion, PPC, and it can be extremely effective when launching a product. We need to use it because when you first launch your product on Amazon, they're not just going to put you right at the top of the first page. You need to pay to be there initially. So hence the ad. So you're going to have an opportunity to be right at the top of all the search results for certain keywords that you want to be there for, certain search terms. So you have an opportunity to start to sell your product. Now, more sales results in you having sales history and sales volume, which will help your organic ranking improve, and you will start to move up the organic search results in simple terms. So the first, and we're going to look at a few different types of ads. The most popular ad is a sponsored product ad. And again, that's just a sponsored ad at the top of the search results. So again, it says here it's the most popular. It appears in pretty much every step of the customer's journey on Amazon when they search for a certain term. So this is the first type of ad, right? We're going to whiz through these ads. Second type of ad is a sponsored brand ad. Now, sponsored brands are slightly different. We call them top of the funnel ads. So essentially, you're trying to capture a customer at the beginning of their journey on Amazon when they don't really know what they're searching for. They might not specifically know exactly what they want, but they've got an idea of what product they want, but not an exact image in their head of what they're looking for. So we call it top of the funnel. People who aren't at the bottom and know exactly what they want, they're at the top and they're kind of having a browse. So you can only use sponsored brand ads using specific keywords. You can't have an automatic campaign for sponsored brand ads. Now, if you think about it, you want to make sure that you're not targeting really, really long tail and specific keywords if your sponsored brands or your sponsored product ad, your sponsored brands ad, does not relate to that product. Now, sponsored brands are where you get a chance to, advertise essentially your whole array of products. So if you're selling pet products and you've got a few different products, you've got the chance to have them right at the top of the search results and showing a few of your listings all at once. So you want to make sure that the keywords that you're targeting relate to the product, which means that we want to be more broad with what we're targeting. So if someone was searching for, let's have a look, a blue professional outdoor rock climbing safety rope, and your sponsored products did not have a blue, you didn't have a blue option, you would not target that keyword, right? You might just target outdoor rock climbing rope. You see what I mean there? So we want to be broader with the search terms that we use for sponsored brand ads, just because of the nature of what they are, their function. So very effective form of advertising, and can be used in tandem with sponsored product ads. Now, we also have product display ads. Now, these are ads that appear, we can see there, they appear on the actual listing itself. And you guys might notice if you're a seasoned seller, when you download your search term reports, you will have, instead of looking at search terms that what you're actually trying to find, you'll see a lot of ASINs in the search term that got you the click or the sale. Now, these ASINs, when you see an ASIN in your search term report, it's usually when someone has clicked on an ad. Well, it always is when someone's clicked on an ad on a product listing and they're giving you the ASIN of the listing. So this can help you when you're working on your future targeting, what listings to target, what listings have been converting well when your ad's been visible on the listing. So slightly different again. Now, these are all different ads. So you guys are probably thinking, wow, we've got an overload of info. So let me give you my advice. So I'm going to give you the two options and then what do I think is best when you are launching initially. So a soft product launch. Now, I'm going to throw it out there straight away. Giveaway services like Viral Launch. A Viral Launch is a service that you can use to give away products to a dedicated or predetermined audience that Viral Launch have got, Amazon customers or their own customer base. You can launch promotional products to them at a discount to drive sales. Okay, now I don't recommend using a launch service for your first product as an option one. It can be used as a second option if option one doesn't work, but I don't believe it's necessary. So let's look at a soft product launch. Now, there's lots of different ways to launch your product, and this is my own view, my own opinions on what I determine a soft launch. Now, you guys may or may not have heard of giveaway services, right? So promotional launches. So you can use software and software companies such as Viral Launch who will launch products on your behalf, and they will, through their own methods, give away your products either for free or at a large discount to drive sales for your listing. Now, sales, again, mean that your ranking is going to improve, your organic ranking is going to improve. So the reason that I don't advise anyone to use launch services on their first attempt at launch is because they can be very costly. Okay, you can be looking at spending, anything up to sort of $200 or £200 for a single listing to be launched, and that's just what you pay in fees to the launch service. Then you've got all of your giveaways that you give away. You might have to give away 50, you might have to give away 100 units. Now, that could equate to hundreds and hundreds of pounds that you might not necessarily have needed to do. So let's try some softer launch first without, using a launch service. Now, my students always go for a soft launch first rather than a hard product launch because, again, it can be unnecessary to spend, up to £1,000 on a launch service and give away promotional codes for your products when you don't need to. It's worth seeing if it works without trying that avenue first. So I would recommend using PPC, right? As you're first getting used to Amazon FBA, you're launching your first product, use pay-per-click advertising. I would, and again, a lot of people argue that this way it's too simple now and it's not enough to for it to work. But I do believe it still does work using an automatic campaign to begin with. Again, some would argue that you should immediately target specific keywords using a manual campaign if you know what those keywords are. Now, there's some truth in that, but the beauty of automatic campaigns, and Amazon themselves recommend it however they would because they make money through automatic campaigns, but it does allow you to establish what keywords convert for your listing. Now, you might already know what keywords you're going to use or have a rough idea, but from my own experience, even when I did have a really good idea of what keywords I was going to punch into my manual campaign, when I ran an auto campaign, I thought, wow, I've actually been converting really well for this search term that I didn't even think to use. And there were a few, up to 10 search terms that I got from that 2 or 3 week automatic campaign, which in the long run paid dividends, right? Although you do pay for, and you have your ads with an automatic campaign just thrown out sometimes in front of irrelevant search terms, as we all know, but you will find terms that you weren't expecting. And in the long run, when you can extract those terms after 2 weeks, it's worth running one, in my opinion. So I would run an automatic advertising campaign and run that for about 3 weeks. Now, I would suggest to double their suggested bid. Usually a suggested bid from Amazon isn't enough. I like to double it. And again, you guys will see what this means when you create your first campaign. Double the suggested bid, and the budget is down to you. You know, if you've only got £5 to spend a day, then obviously I can't tell you to spend more. £5 is not likely to be enough. You know, £10 to £20 a day on PPC for the first 3 weeks is typical. It can be more that you spend on PPC. It can be £30 a day, which is getting into the higher end if you're in a more competitive niche. But I would recommend between £10 and £20 per day, depending on your budget and the competitiveness of the niche and the products that you're selling. Remember, when you're looking on Helium 10 or Jungle Scout, you will know from the first page the monthly sales of those products. So you'll know roughly how many sales that you need per month to rank on page 1. So from that, you can ascertain then, you know, roughly how many sales you're going to need when you are using these methods. So soft product launch, I would run an auto campaign doing exactly what I just said. I would then optimize the listing by downloading the search term report. You will likely see a lot of the keyword research that you did at the beginning. A lot of the keywords that you thought would convert well would have converted well. You will hopefully get a number of other search terms that in the future will make back the money that you spent on that initial automatic campaign. You can then set up a manual campaign, which will have that will be much more efficient. Now, a manual campaign is when you can actually select the search terms yourself. So Amazon don't just guess, you know, you're selling a white pen, they'll put it in front of a black pen, a blue pen, a big pen, a small pen. You can actually tell Amazon, this is exactly what my product is like, and I want you to advertise it as per the keywords that I'm telling you to advertise it for. So I would optimize and use a manual campaign. From my own experience and students' experience and just anyone in this space, Jungle Scout, Helium 10, Viral Launch, they all advise to do this. The search term report from an automatic campaign is the most important piece of information that Amazon will ever give you. It's telling you that this is what people are searching for and buying your product. Like, it's actually telling you what is getting you these sales. So when you have that sale come through, you know, you're thinking, how the hell did I get that? Well, if it was through an ad, you can find out what the search term was. So that is so valuable, guys. I cannot emphasize enough how valuable it is. And anyone within this space who knows about advertising on Amazon knows that the search term report is the most important piece of information that you get from Amazon and from your Seller Central. So auto into manual. I would also advise creating a Facebook advertising campaign for a soft launch, setting yourself a budget for that. You can create a funnel if you want to gather emails, but I'd probably just go direct to Amazon. So make sure you're targeting whatever product. You make sure you're targeting the audience who are interested in the product that you're selling, and you can do that through Facebook ads. I've got lectures on that in the course, and also I've got videos on it on my YouTube for you guys to check out to help you. So that would be a soft product launch, also factoring in all of these things that I mentioned to you there. Now, a hard product launch is what people would maybe use as a second resort or a second option, having tried a soft launch if it didn't work. Or if you're in an incredibly competitive niche and you need to be more aggressive with the launch. So I would do exactly the same as what I mentioned in the soft launch. However, you are going to need more money if you're going for a hard launch. I would run a simultaneous manual campaign along with the auto, with the expected keywords that you intend on using and that you'd included in your product listing and in your keyword section of your Seller Central. I would create a manual campaign and run it simultaneously and split test the two. It's going to increase sales, and again, if it's a more competitive category, you're going to need more monthly sales. I would also use a launch service if you're going for a hard product launch. From my experience, Viral Launch is the best launch service that there is, in my opinion, and I've got a link for you guys to get you a discount below. So a launch service, again, if I didn't explain what it was previously, a launch service is where a company who has a predetermined set of or customer base, an Amazon customer base, they will give your product away at a discount in order to drive sales. Now, there's been an update very recently from Amazon where they're starting to penalize sellers for misuse of sales rank, and that they're actually they've stipulated that a misuse of sales rank now, you qualify to be misusing your sales rank if you are heavily discounting products above 65%. Now, Viral Launch have released a statement on this, and they've actually altered what their process is now, so they don't have massive discounts where you may be manipulating your sales rank. They are going to be limiting the discount that you're giving on the product in order to give it away, which means it's a little bit harder to sell the product, but it means you're not going to be spending as much because you're not going to be giving it away at 100%, for example. So yeah, a launch service I would go for. Now, if we look at this here, we've got a UK Uber launch, so one-time launch, a 15-day promotion. You get your giveaway stats, target up to 4 keywords. You're going to have to tell Viral Launch what keywords you want to target. That would likely be from your keyword research or from the automatic campaign, which has been running, or you can ask them and actually hire them to do this for you. So this is an option where it's $100 one-time fee. But again, we've also got the fee or the cost of giving away those units at a percentage. So you might be at a loss of £10 per product that you give away, or £5. Let's say £5. If you give away 100 products, you've just spent £500 on that launch. But when you are in a more competitive niche, and if you do want to go for a really solid launch and you've got the budget, then you can opt for a launch service and go for that as well. They are effective because they do drive sales. Viral Launch can guarantee you sales because they've got such a massive group of customers that they launch these promotions to. So it does work and it does drive traffic. Now, that is a hard launch. Everything that we've included in the last one, probably a more aggressive Facebook campaign as well. But my overall advice would be to opt for a soft launch first. And again, things are changing, right? I don't want to tell you guys that this is likely, but one of my students in the last video, Hannah, she launched her product, and without any PPC, she was on page 1. And you're probably thinking, Dill, that's gone against everything that you've just said, and it has, right? It is bizarre how, at the moment, due to alterations to Amazon's A9 algorithm, which is essentially how they rank products, they are giving new sellers opportunities to rank on the first page without much PPC. And it's not just one person that I've seen this happen with, it's multiple people, which is why a soft launch is definitely the first option, because why would you want to waste hundreds of pounds on a hard product launch when you didn't even need it? Hannah, for example, my student who launched a few months ago, went immediately to page 1 within the first sort of few days without hardly any PPC, if any at all. And she's making about £4,000 in revenue a month at like a 30% margin, so like 1.2k profit a month, which was my wage when I was a teacher, which is just crazy from one product. If she had spent 700 on a launch, she'd still be in the same position, right? She's on page 1, she's like number 3 now, organically ranked for a load of her search terms. So soft product launch. I know it's a lot to take in, and this is why I try to put these videos out there. I can't look at, you could say, Dale, I could look at way more detail for these things. It would take me so long to do, which is why I've created the Elites Academy, where I do look at these things in extreme amount of detail. I've got a whole module of multiple lectures on product launches, which look at real specifics and mapped out plans that I use myself to get products to page 1. But hope this one was helpful, guys. Comment below if you've got any questions about launching a specific product, and I will see you guys in the next one.